Hello everyone, James Charles here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so excited for today's video. Last week, you guys saw me reveal the first ever painted palette, our basic canvas. I am so grateful to the response about this collection. I cannot wait for you guys to get this into your hands next week. Remember, we are launching on November 15th at 10 a.m. PST on painted.co, but we are also partnering with TikTok Shop for a 24-hour exclusive early launch on November 14th. So if you guys want to have this in your collection, a beautiful neutral palette, 24 amazing shades, mattes and shimmers for any makeup artist of any skill level, this is your opportunity to get it. I have told you guys all about this palette, the story of which it came to be, but today's YouTube video is going to be dedicated to showing you how to actually use these shades inside. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If you guys are excited for the basic canvas palette, please go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up down below. Your love and support really helps out the channel quite a lot and it means the world to me. Also, if you haven't not already, click that big red subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you guys never miss an upload from me. Now, before we get into this today, I do have two quick little things. For the full story and all the information about this palette, make sure you guys go check out last week's video, but just a friendly reminder once again, inside this palette we have 24 beautiful shades, and these shades are a mixture of both regular eyeshadows and also what are considered pressed pigments. Now, if you're in the UK, EU, or Australia, no warning is necessary, but I do need to let you know that if you're in America, the American FDA does not recommend using pressed pigments around the eye area because they can cause staining or irritation. So, all the ingredients and shades will be listed on the box and on our website at painted.co. So make sure you're being safe with your makeup application always. Second thing, I got a ton of questions on the reveal video asking if you could use different shades for different steps throughout your routine. So I figured I would give you guys a quick little mini tutorial, starting off with adding some contour. I do want to deepen up my cheekbone just a little bit and add some more color. So I'm going to dip right into UV Index, and I'm just going to pop this right into my cheekbone for a super soft, bronzy look. I love this shade. It is one of my most used in the entire palette because, like I said in the video, this just reminds me of getting the perfect summer tan. And then of course I need to contour my nose as well. So I'm gonna dip into a little bit of UV Index, but I'm also gonna mix in some cookie dough because cookie dough is a little bit more cool tone. So when we're creating that contour, we're trying to fool the eye into thinking that I actually have a very tiny nose, which unfortunately I do not. Just like that. Oh, look at how tiny that looks. So much better. I told you guys in the video that Sugar was one of my favorite shades in the entire palette. In fact, this is the palette that I've been using for several months now. Look at how mine looks. There's a giant hole in the middle. I've obviously very much hit pan in it. I love using this shade in our J12 brush to add a little bit of a matte highlight underneath the eye and especially on the sides of the nose to really help enforce that contour as well. Literally look at the difference in the brightness from this side to this side. It's crazy, literally crazy. I'm literally obsessed with Sugar. Now, one question that I also got asked is, can you use this palette for blush? And the answer is absolutely. Both Warrior and Vintage would make a beautiful blush depending on the type of tone you're going for. I'm gonna use Warrior today. Now, these shades are really pigmented. They're definitely not your typical buildable soft blush formula. So if you're gonna do this, be careful. Gonna tap off quite a lot, but let's just go right in on the cheek with a little bit of Warrior. Ooh, that is such a little pretty pop of pink. This looks amazing. That's gorgeous. I love that. Okay. Blush, all taken care of. Little boop, boop, boop on the end of the nose. Now, of course, one question that I saw over and over and over again, and that was also featured in the original commercial was, is there a highlighter in this palette? Is there a highlighter? There's shimmer shades if that's what you're asking. That's not what he's asking. Duh. Of course there is, you guys. In my original palette, Face was our highlighter shade that everyone became absolutely obsessed with, and trust and believe, one day when Painted releases highlighters, I will bring that shade back for you guys. But for right now, Finnegan up here in the top left corner is the closest shade. It is this beautiful, bright, champagne-y gold color, so you can definitely use this as a highlighter, or you could also use like Shams or Cloud9 if you want a more pinky tone, especially to match with the blush. I'm gonna use a little bit of Shams for that pinky tone, just because I'll show you guys Finnegan on the eyes later on. But look at that. Next up, when we did the swatches, I showed you guys the shade Freckled, and of course, I got a lot of comments asking, can you use Freckled to make freckles? So I will show you guys how to do that as well. I will say, okay, I've done a lot of tutorials using Cold Brew, our Create paint as freckles, and I do honestly prefer that. I think it looks really, really beautiful, but if you feel more comfortable using a shadow formula, Freckled is the perfect color to do that with. I'm just gonna dip in using my J6 brush and pop on a couple of little dots around my nose. I don't wanna go too crazy today. These shadows are very, very pigmented, so Be light with your touch. And there we have a cute little easy freckle using Freckled. And now last but not least, let's get into the eyebrows. Obviously, mine need to be done. So many questions about what shades you could use for eyebrows. And quite honestly, the entire top row is gonna work. It just depends on how dark your hair is. So I'm gonna use Oak in the front of my brow and Treehouse to darken the tails. And now our full base is finally done. We are the perfect blank canvas for the basic canvas. Do you like that? Thank you.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
For the looks today, I want to show you guys how to do a ton of different ones. That way you can kind of choose based on your skill level or the colors that you're more drawn to. Maybe it's your eye color, maybe it's the type of makeup you like to wear. Let's get started with a simple look using our cool tones, which is the top row. For my first look, I'm going to show you guys my go-to glam. I've posted so many photos in this look because it's really easy to do, but still makes you look very, very beautiful and snatched. So I'll teach you guys how to do it right now, starting off with my J14 brush. I'm going to dip into a little bit of cookie dough and use this combination right in my crease just to add a little bit of dimension. I literally love this brush. It gets on the color so quickly, and this shade is perfect to add a little bit of dimension into that crease. Then using my J11, I'm just gonna dip into a little bit of Oak, which is next door to cookie dough, and use this to tuck this right into the crease. Still blending this out because it's not like we want this to be super, super defined, but we do wanna add a little bit more of dimension. If you're ever having trouble where to figure out putting shadow in your crease, all you have to do is just open your eye, and wherever your eyelid naturally folds, that's where you want to stick that brush right inside and wiggle it around. And I'm also going to pat a little bit of this into my outer corner to start creating that winged out V shape. That winged out V shape, just like this. Do you see how we kind of have this vibe going on out here? This is what we're looking for. Next, I'm gonna do my favorite trick, grabbing my J12 and a little bit of sugar. And I'm literally gonna use this shade to cut my crease. Now, I'm not looking for like that super, super sharp defined moment. I wanna keep this a more like matte 90s eye, but literally look at how pigmented that shade is. It brightens the lid up so much and looks so beautiful. So I'm just tapping this right into here. And I'm also gonna bring a little bit of it down into that inner corner. And this is gonna help tie that whole look together. Oh, look at how bright that looks. Oh, it's so pretty. Next, I'm gonna add just a tiny little dollop of my cold brew paint. And using my J4 brush, I'm just gonna add on the tiniest little wing liner. And then with that same brush, I'm just gonna dip into the littlest bit of lava cake. And I'm just gonna pat this shade right along my lash line to darken it up. And that's gonna make the cold brew look like almost an ombre liner. Just like that. Look at how pretty that looks, you guys. Oh, so easy, but makes such a big impact. And then last but not least, I'm gonna take a tiny little bit more of that sugar and just pop it right onto the brow bone as a highlight. So easy and so simple, only using a couple of shadows. You'll notice I skipped the bottom lash line of shadow as well. Personally, I've been loving skipping it recently. I feel like it really makes my eyes look much more lifted and pulled. Then I'm just gonna pop on my lab sample of my future painted mascara. I cannot wait for you guys to have this. Look at how fucking good it looks. And then finally, I'm just gonna pop on a half lash in my outer corner to really give that lifted look. And that's my super easy go-to glam if I'm in a rush and still wanna look super pretty using the first row of the palette. Let's move on to another look. Now we did a super simple matte winged out eye for the first look. So for the second eye in the second row, I wanna do something completely different. This row is like my kind of warm golden row. It reminds me a lot of a typical classic Hollywood. So I'm going to do a halo eye using these shades. Starting off once again with my J14, I'm gonna dip into the shade UV Index, which is my favorite transition in the entire palette. Very similar to cookie dough, but warmer tone. And I'm just gonna place this right in my crease, but I'm gonna go in more of a rounded motion, kind of from inner corner of my eye to outer corner of my eye, as opposed to really pulling it out. Then with my J11, I'm gonna dip into Freckled. And then with that same shape, I'm just gonna start wiggling this in the inner and outer corners, and then bringing what's left into the crease just for a little bit of dimension. With my J13, I'm gonna dip into a little bit of Mango, which is that mustardy yellow color. And I'm just gonna use this to warm out and buff out the edges. And see how that adds just a little bit of warmth in there? Oh, so pretty. So this is kind of the general vibe that I'm going for. Now we're gonna use some now we're gonna use some shimmer shades to really emphasize the look. I'm gonna dip my finger right into movie night. Of course, you can use a brush if you want to, but I find that it looks so beautiful this way. And I'm just gonna pat this right onto my eye, staying in that kind of halo area. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay. Then with my J8, I'm just gonna grab a little bit of Gold Coast, which is that beautiful bright gold. And I'm just gonna pop this right in the center of the eye to draw some attention to the middle of the lid. Look at how gorgeous that looks, all right? Now I'm gonna cheat a tiny little bit and dip into Gampy, which we haven't gotten to quite yet, but I really want that deep chocolatey brown in the inner and outer corners using my J9 brush. All right. Now for this, I'll use a little bit more of Gold Coast, and I'm just gonna use this to highlight my brow bone. For the lower lash line, we'll do the exact opposite, starting off with a little bit of UV index on the J13, buffing out with a tiny little bit of mango, and then we'll use our J11 and a little bit of freckled on the inner and outer corners. And then with a little bit more of Gampy on our J7, our tiny little smudger brush, we're just gonna tuck this right up against that lash line on the inner and outer corners. Last but not least, we're gonna put those same glitters on the lower lash line. Once again, gonna curl the lashes, add some mascara, including the lower lash line this time, and then just pop on a pair of lashes, this time placing it right in the center of the eye. And there we go, you guys. As easy as that, we have two completely different eye looks, both using the same exact eyeshadow palette. Here we have Natural Soft Matte 90s Glam, and here we have Hollywood Sparkle. Very, very different, but it just goes to show how versatile this palette actually is. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe both of these looks off, and let's get started on some new ones. We are back with a basic canvas, ready to do more looks using the basic canvas, and this time I'm gonna show you guys how to do a look using the third row, which is dedicated to my pinks. This honestly might be my favorite row in the entire palette. You guys are going to die when you see these colors. I'm gonna start off with my J14, dipping into a little bit of Warrior, and I'm just gonna start buffing this into my crease. I'm really just looking for a light watercolor, a transition shade here. I'm gonna show you guys how to do a really simple pink look, but if you're interested in the beautiful pink look that I wore in the campaign, I'm gonna post a tutorial over on my TikTok page. That is by far my favorite look that you can create with this palette. I use the browns, I go with a little bit of Shams, a little bit of Cloud9, and oh, it is just mwah, chef's kiss, so beautiful, and just goes to show how many combinations you can use in this palette. Then I'm gonna grab a little bit of Vintage on my J11, and I'm just gonna tuck this in my outer corner, just to create that little V shape once again for some dimension on my eye. And I'm gonna tuck this into the crease as well, just to add some shadow. Next, I'm gonna use my J7 and dip into a little bit of Wimple, the deep red shade, and I'm gonna use this to start sketching on a shadow liner. I want it to have that liner shape, but I don't want it to be super, super, super sharp and precise. Just gonna buff it out using a little bit of Vintage and my J9 brush. And then the best step of all, my favorite shade in the entire palette, I'm gonna grab Shams on my J2 brush from our previous brush set, and I'm gonna place this right on the lid. I mean, oh my God, have you ever seen a shadow like this before? It literally looks like pink diamonds. Like, oh, it's so pretty! Then I'm just gonna grab the littlest bit of Cloud9 on that same brush, and I'm gonna pop that right into my inner corner for a super bright pop of pink. Oh, look at that. Then I'm also just gonna trace my crease line just like that. I mean, you guys, look at how stunning that looks. Now for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna tuck in a little bit of Wimple right up against my waterline. And I'm gonna keep that only on the outer third as well. Then using my J9, a little bit of Vintage, and finally a little bit of Warrior. All right, let's add lashes and mascara again. And with our lash glued on, that is our Pretty in Pink using the third row of the basic canvas palette, all complete. Let's go in and create a beautiful warm tone smoky eye for row number 4. Starting off with our trusty dusty at this point, J14, once again, gonna go in with Creamsicle, the light pale orange as a transition shade. Speaking of creamsicles, by the way, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like them. Sorry, I think they're disgusting, not my vibe, but I would love to know from you guys, what is your favorite like little dessert item? Mine would either have to be lava cake from Chili's, like I have in the top right corner, or I love La Michoacana, like the Mexican frozen bars, like the strawberry one or the mango one. Ooh, especially with some fucking chamoy, gets me every single time. And then going down that row, we're just using Fox to deepen up that crease. I know it kind of looks a little ridiculous to have so many different shades of orange in a palette, but in order to create that perfect warm smoky eye, you really can't just go in with a super dark chocolate brown and then a light orange to blend it together. You really need all those different levels blending together to create that perfect seamless effect. Then I'm just gonna grab Fox on my J11 brush, and I'm gonna start putting this on the lid, tucking this into the inner corner, and then of course blending up into the crease as well, but making sure to not get too high, because once we start losing that dimension, girl, it's lost. You can't bring it back. And then to create that smoky effect, I'm gonna get a little bit of cold brew onto the back of my hand, and I'm literally just gonna place this on my eyelid using my finger, and this is gonna act as our base for the brown to stick to. I'm just gonna go right in with Gampy right over top. Oh, Gampy looked when I said that. Once the top lid is all done from lightest to darkest, we're gonna do the bottom lid in reverse order, starting off with a little bit of Gampy right up against that lash line, then some Famous, a little bit of Daisy, a dollop of Daisy, if you will. And then finally some creamsicle just to tie it all together. All right, and now we have two more completely different looks using the basic canvas palette. On this side, we have this gorgeous pretty and pink glittery glam. And over here, we have a sultry brown smoky eye, perfect for the fall season, but both looks still look so good, you guys. Of course, we used row number 3 and then row number 4 in the palette, but I think now it's time to wipe these off once again, and let me show you guys how to kind of mix everything all together. All right, we are back one last and final time with a clean base ready to go with an eyeshadow look, and this is gonna be our 5th one of the day, and I'm gonna do one that matches this time, and we're gonna end off this video on the makeup look that I probably get requested from you guys the absolute most, a special event makeup. This is makeup for prom, this is makeup for weddings, this is makeup that when I was a working makeup artist when I was 16 years old would get asked to do every single time. But I know that it's what you guys love to do most because it's easy, it's simple, and it looks beautiful every single time you have a special event or you're going out. So let's just get into it because quite honestly, this is the perfect palette to use. Starting off with our J14, we're gonna go right in with UV Index into the crease. I should actually say our creases. I'm gonna do both eyes this time. Then I'm just gonna go in some creamsicle to warm up this crease. Oh yes, that is like the perfect little combination. Next, I'm gonna put a little bit of vintage in the crease. We're gonna do kind of like a pinky orange mauve moment. Then I'm gonna take a little bit of freckled and I'm gonna use this to deepen up the outer V. And I'm gonna pull a little bit of this into the crease as well. This is looking gorgeous so far. Now I'm just gonna grab a little bit of Treehouse and gonna place this in my outer corner. Now I'm gonna take Gold Coast on my J2. I'm gonna give it a little spritz of setting spray to make it extremely pigmented. And I'm gonna go right in and I'm gonna carve out my crease. And look at how fucking stunning this shadow is. I mean, oh my God, it's literally like molten gold. Oh my God, okay. Now I'm gonna use a tiny little bit of Redstone, our shimmery red color, and I'm gonna use this just to blend together that gold shimmer in our outer corner. Using my little pencil brush, I'm gonna do Finnegan in my inner corner and on the brow bones. And then I'm just gonna add a black wing liner. Of course, if you have Create Paint, you can use yours, but I know a lot of you guys out there just have a regular old liquid liner, so I'll use that for the sake of this look. We're so close to being done. I'm just gonna do a little bit of freckled on my lower lash line. And then finally, a little bit of creamsicle. Last but not least, I'm gonna line my waterline using a pencil. If you wanted this to be smoky, you could use a black, but I'm using a nude to really help open up my eyes. And there we go, that's the shadow all complete. Let's add one more time, my poor lashes, some mascara and falsies. And finally, that is this prom night, homecoming, date night, or getting married glam, all complete, our 5th and final look using the basic canvas palette. I had so much fun creating all these looks for you guys today, but honestly, my face is beat. And for once, I don't mean it in a good way. I have had so many makeup looks on my face today, but it has been so incredible getting to show you guys all of the hard work and love that was put into the basic canvas palette. 24 beautiful neutral shades, mattes and shimmers for any artist of any skill level that clearly can create literally any makeup look. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below which look was your favorite, but I also cannot wait for you guys to get this palette in your hands so you can start showing me what you guys come up with. A friendly reminder that this collection of the basic canvas palette for $55 and our 8-piece brush set for $50 will be releasing on November 15th at 10 a.m. PST on our website at painted.co. But if you want exclusive early access, you can find the palette on our TikTok shop on November 14th, also at 10 a.m. PST. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was quite a long one, but if you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up down below. Your love and support really helps out the channel quite a lot. And if you have not already, come click that subscribe button and join the family. There's so many of you guys that watch our videos on a weekly basis that are not subscribed. Hit that bell icon so you guys never miss an upload. If you want to follow me and my other social media accounts, just James Charles on Instagram and TikTok. And finally, follow Painted at painted.co. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you're as excited about this launch as I am. I love you so much. Thank you again for all the support, and I will see you next week. Bye.